What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Um, so, as you guys know, me and my co-host host Raw and SmackDown together, but I've been doing NXT by myself because he doesn't watch every week, but I do, so I'd rather just cover it on my own because we pretty much both decide on that. Because like I'll watch it, I might as well just do it. So, last week's NXT was huge. It felt almost like a new era for the show because there was so much debuts from Evolve and AAA and all that. This show was still also it feels pretty fresh because the Raw and SmackDown call-ups, all the calls at their Mania, they basically took NXT's entire main event scene away. So like, the, the I'll admit the new roster feels very refreshing. It is nice, not gonna lie. And they're establishing the stars and building them up, which I like. That's what NXT's all about, building up new stars, you know. So I like it. I like what they've been doing. Tonight's show was pretty entertaining. A lot happened. Once again, it's like last week. A lot happened. Um, So, yeah, like I said, again, like I'll be doing this review alone. I'm gonna try to get out for you guys tonight, Tuesday night. I'm recording this right now. Oh, NXT ended at, like usual, NXT ended Tuesday night at 10 p.m. It's currently that same night at 11. It's currently 11:41 p.m. So I'm recording this about like hour and a half after, almost 2 hours after the show ended. So I did to freshen my mind. I think it's better that way, honestly. So that's really about it. I do have news at the end. It's not NXT related news. It's more about the budget cut stuff that happened at TKO this week, or last week. So I have some news about that at the end. We'll get to that, but first we're gonna do the NXT review. So without further ado, let's get started with the first segment right now.
Here we go with Jaida Parker in
So
action
the first
tonight.
match. Actually, before this match starts, first NXT Champion Tony D'Angelo. He attacked Tavion Heights in the back because, you know, last week Tavion attacked him, so the Tony D got revenge and he attacked Tavion Heights in the back. And then we go to this first match. Jaida Parker versus Callie Armstrong. Callie Armstrong recently got called up from Evolve. She's one of the many call-ups. And she won her, like 2 weeks ago, she won her in-ring debut on NXT. Her official in-ring debut, her official one. And it was a fun match. And last week she had a little backstage encounter with Jaida Parker, and they set this match for tonight. This was a pretty fun match, and as you would expect, Callie Armstrong is the new star, so she got the win. She's 2-0 so far. Pretty nice to see. That was pretty much the match. There wasn't really much to go over here. That he has won the match. But then after the match, we get Tony D'Angelo again. He's in the NXT general manager Robert Stone's office. He's talking to Robert Stone, and Stone asks him what's going on. And Tony says he's not going to be the champion who gets blindsided. He's the hunter, not the hunted. And he wants Tavion Heights in the match tonight. And Robert Stone gives him the match after some reluctance. He eventually does do it. Then we get a little hype reel video for later tonight's match, which is we get a hype reel for later tonight. This match later tonight happening. It's Jasper versus Jackson Drake of the Vanity Project faction. I set that up last week as well. Then we come back to commercial. The faction known as the BirthRight. Everyone was there except Charlie Dempsey. Every other member was there. Lexis King, Stacks, Arianna, Grace, Uriah, all the rest of them. And then Uriah Connor's real life dad, Finlay, as you guys know. I don't know if you guys know who he is. Big star. His two sons are Uriah Connors, whose real name is Brooke Finlay. Then his brother David Finlay is currently in AEW. But Finlay comes in, and he says they're not supposed to get outmaneuvered by gamers with no pedigrees. And then Finlay calls up William Regal on speakerphone, and Regal basically tells the faction he sent Charlie Dempsey back into Snake's Pit to train, and next week they'll have a trios match, and they best make the most of it. That's really it. Then we get a promo video for Evil, the guy who debuted last week from New Japan. Evil. There's a little video for him, and he basically talks in Japanese, and he says he talks about his career in Japan and how his warrior soul is never satisfied. NXT is entering a new era, and this is his moment to strike. And Tony D'Angelo sits at the top of NXT with the biggest prize, one night he wants. He says he didn't give him a gift last week with the little scroll he gave him. He gave him a proclamation. And one day they will do battle for the NXT Championship, and it's written in the rising sun. Then the video package closes by telling us he'll debut next week with his new name. Evil is not his name anymore. We got a name change for the WWE system, and they say that next week, Naraku debuts. That's his new name. Sorry, any of you Japanese users here, I'm sorry I'm pronouncing that wrong. If I am, I'm American, I'm sorry. But that's his new name. Naraku debuts next week. Naraku. I like it. That's got a nice ring to it. And, that's pretty much it for that segment. And we're about to go now into the second match, so let's get to it. Alright, second match is the one that was actually shown earlier in the video package. Jasper versus the Vanity Project Jackson Drake, with at ringside the other two members of Vanity Project at ringside, who are the tag team Swipe Right, Brad Bailey and Ricky Smokes, so they're current NXT Tag Team Champions as well. Pretty fun match, and toward the end, someone debuted actually. So, and I actually watched her in season 1 of LFT. Her name was originally Bailey Humphrey. She's now known as Niko Lockwood. So last week, Niko Lockwood was shown in a little pre-recorded video of, she met Jackson Drake at a bar and they were dating. Basically, Blake Monroe's on the main roster now. He's no longer with Jackson Drake. So, basically, he met this new girl named Mika, and she debuted tonight. Basically, she came out during the match and basically distracted Jasper Troy, and once she distracted him, Jackson Drake got the pin and won. So I guess she's a member of the Vanity Project now. They come a long way from Zaida Steele being in the group and Evolve, then Blake Monroe NXT, and now this girl. It's a lot. That was it. I celebrated on the ramp and I was in the match. Then we get a pre-recorded promo from the person who actually debuted last week, and our debut from last week, Crispin Angels, apparently from AAA, and he wants Miles Bourne and Miles Bourne's North American Championship. So, Crispin Angels has a pre-recorded promo, as mentioned. I'm not gonna lie, I like this guy. I like his promo style. He's very entertaining. I enjoy him. Here's the promo video. He's talking about how he's the winds of change blowing through NXT, and he's here to bring real class to NXT. He talks about being a seventh generation sheep farmer, but knowing he was destined for more than that, and his sixth sense for winning and achievements unlike Miles Bourne, who doesn't even have all 5 of the normal senses. He talks about how he's better than Cam Hendricks, better than Tyler Hill, better than Hank and Tank, and he's the star NXT's been longing for, with shoulder broad enough to carry that burden. Then we get a commercial break. And back in commercial, we get I like these little NXT origin video packages I'm getting for NXT alumni stars. We got one for Damian Priest, we got one for Finn Balor, we got one for Tiffany Stratton, and now we got our 4th one for Rhea Ripley. Pretty cool video, I enjoyed them. And now it's kind of bad. That was pretty fun. And now we go to our first real in-ring promo of the show. So, this after this promo, man, there's a lot of challenges coming for the Women's North American title, coming for Tatum Paxley. I'm excited for the future of that title. Well, first, before we get to her, though, Zaria makes her entrance. Zaria's back for the first time since ending the feud of Sol Ruca. Zaria's here. Zaria gets on the mic. She says, NXT feels different. There's a change in the air, and it could be anyone's game. For the first time, she's standing in the middle of the women's division on NXT, and no one is holding her back. No Sol Ruca to hold her back. There's no dead weight, no fake friends, and she's starting to realize this is how it always needed to be, with her by herself. She's glad Sol Ruca's called up to Raw, because now she can handle herself. And now, she says, now she has a clear path to the thing that started this all. The very thing that came between her and Sol Ruca. The catalyst. The thing that started this all was the NXT Women's North American Championship. When you spend enough time around something like that, holding it, defending it, you start to feel like it should be yours and not Sol Ruca's when Sol Ruca was holding it. That was all Zaria's words. Then, NXT Women's North American Champion Tatum Paxley enters. Tatum says she understands that her title didn't just fracture Zaria's relationship with Sol, it shattered it, but that had nothing to do with Tatum. And now she's trying to figure out who she is by herself, Zaria, and that's hard. Tatum gets that more than nobody, but if Zaria were to come for her title, it wouldn't matter if she scorched the earth. Tatum's ended friendships before too. Danced the devil herself while putting a woman in a casket, meaning Blake Monroe, and that doesn't end with Zaria. Then we get the new girl that I'm really high on, the metal girl. Enter Lizzie Rain. Lizzie says, Zaria's right. It really is anyone's game, and she's the new blood in the locker room. I can't do her accent, I tried. So she wouldn't mind joining in on the fun. Last week she was the talk of the town. And while the lineage of the North American Championship as a woman is grand, wouldn't it be great to add some heavy metal to the title? That'd be awesome. I hope. Then, this next person who enters is actually been on Evolve more, but now she's on NXT again. Nikita Lyons. She says that Lizzie was the talk of the town. But she says Lizzie was the talk of the town, but it was the Nikita Lyons rub because she beat Nikita in her in-ring debut last week. So all she hears is the new flavor of the month shooting way over her head, and she's seeing girls like her come and go. So go touch grass because the new girl smell is already wearing off. Then Tavion starts to talk about title matches, but Nikita sings to interrupt her, and she says she's not done with the Maiden in Metal. Then, out of nowhere, Zaria lunges for Lizzie Rain. A huge brawl breaks out between all four women, and then it ends up being Zaria and Tatum in the ring together, the two of them only, and then Zaria basically drops Tatum, holds the title up, and stands tall. So, out of all four of them in the brawl, Zaria stands tall. Pretty fun little brawl to end the segment. Then, I don't know who this is. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't research this person yet. Someone in the back named Romeo Marino introduces himself to the Vanity Project. They make fun of like his painter gimmick. I guess he's like a painter, and he tries to relate to them on the basis of being new, but they aren't having it. Then we got actually a pretty big return. I wish it was a little bigger. Noam Dar comes back from injury. We haven't seen him in like 2 years. It feels like at least. He rolls up and says the Vanity Project are making fun of him for being old, but he looks back and sees Jackson Drake. Looks like perfect target practice. So Noam Dar challenges Jackson to a 1-on-1 match for next week. Then Mika Lockwood rolls up and slaps a hand on Noam's shoulder and says the Vanity Project with her. Then Jackson says they are, and if Mika wants to see him slapping Noam around, that's fine by him. And that's pretty much it. Then we get backstage. Tony D'Angelo was walking toward the ring to go have a promo, I guess. And then out of nowhere, Cam Hendricks, who also debuted last week, Anthony Luke, formerly known as on LFG. Cam Hendricks attacks Tony from behind and lays him out in the back. They go back from commercial, and Robert Stone grabs a headset off a random crew member in the back and puts it on. He says, Tony D'Angelo versus Tavion Heights is off now, and they're moving the mixed tag match from the main event to now. Because originally the main event plan was, they set this up last week too. NXT Women's Champion / AAA Mixed Tag Team Champion Lola Vice and her Mixed Tag Team Champion partner, Mr. Iguana, were going to take on the Cullings, Izzi Dame, and Niko Vance. That was a mixed tag match that they set up last week because Lola's feuding Izzi for Lola's NXT Women's title. The mixed tag match was going to be the main event tonight, but Robert Stone moved it to now. So that's up next. We're going to go to that match right now. So before I start talking about the match, you guys are probably wondering, what the hell is this match? What is this? This is not the match happened on the show. Let me explain. I don't have the ringside pass yet for this game, so I don't have the actual Mr. Iguana in the game yet, or I also don't have the AAA Mixed Tag Team titles in the game yet, the actual belts. So I couldn't find the belt in the community creations to download, but I did download a custom Mr. Iguana skin, but I don't have the actual one yet, so I apologize for that. Also, this tag match actually had Niko Vance wrestling with Izzi Dame, teaming with her and not Sean Spears, so I picked the wrong person, I apologize for that. But it is what it is. So, this mixed tag match, Lola Vice and Izzi Dame have been feuding for Lola Vice's NXT Women's title, so that's why this is happening. So, it's the full names. It's NXT Women's Champion, and also the AAA Mixed Tag Team Champion, Lola Vice, teaming with her partner, the other AAA Mixed Tag Team Champion, Mr. Iguana, and they're versing two members of the Culling, the faction, which is Izzi Dame and Niko Vance. This is a fun mixed tag. Very fun mixed tag team match. And there's not much to say here. Pretty much toward the end of the match, while Mr. Iguana and Niko Vance are fighting on the outside, Izzi Dame does a running knee to Lola Vice and pins her. So Izzi Dame pinned the NXT Women's Champion. So she's probably going to get a title shot against Lola Vice now. And that's pretty much it. Then we go backstage. Tavion Heights is frustrated. He vented out to his old partner, Miles Bourne, who's currently the North American champion. And he says it might be a good thing, because now he's time to prepare for the match. Miles says, it's a good thing the match is delayed. Now he's time to prepare. Tavion says no, he stays ready. And Robert Stone comes up and says he kicked Cam Hendricks out of the building. So Tony D'Angelo and Tavion Heights are good to go for their match, and they're now in the main event. Then Zaria comes in and saying, why are you letting Lizzie Ray and Nikita Lyons interrupt her? And then Robert Stone says, he puts the match for next week, just to have all four of them sell things. Basically the faces for the here. Next week in a tag match is going to be Tatum Paxi and Lizzie Rain teaming up against Nikita Lyons and Zaria. So, it could be fun. And then Jaida Parker is smashing stuff up in the locker room. They're frustrated that she lost earlier, and Maddie rolls up, Natalia, and says what they say about Miss Parker is true. She's gotten soft. Maybe she needs someone to train her. I'm not a huge Natalia fan, so I don't really care about this, but I am a big Jaida Parker fan, so I'll see where this goes. I'm curious. And that's it for now. So now it's time for the next match. So another random type match I got playing. I'm sorry, guys. I don't have Dark State downloaded. They're not in the game yet, and you know, there's a lot of NXT stars that aren't in this game yet because the roster is always being updated constantly in real life. That's all. So the actual match, it's Hank Walker and Tank Ledger versus Tank versus two members of Dark State, Cutler James and Osiris Griffin, with at ringside the other two members of the group, the ones that are having tension currently, Dion Lennox and Shaquan Cougars. It was an alright match. I don't like Hank and Tank. I think they're annoying, personally. Me personally. I thought they were going to win this match and embarrass Dark State, but they didn't actually, thankfully. It seemed like Dion Lennox and Shaquan Cougars were having more tension, but then in the end, they kind of got back on the same page, and they actually helped Cutler James and Osiris Griffin get the win. Dark State got the win. And it seems to go forward and run back on the same page again, for now. So, that's nice to see. And now that's pretty much it. They got the win. It was nice. Then backstage we go to Klein Jordan's trying to get Lola Vice's attention, and she's basically saying, Lola Vice shouldn't be worried about Izzy Dame. She should be worried about Klein Jordan, because Klein is the only person in NXT to tap out Lola Vice before. And she says she needs to be worried more about her than her other challengers. Then Kendall Gray comes in and says Kalani is in her sights after what she did to Ren Sinclair last week. Basically last week, Kalani Jordan beat Ren Sinclair, who's Kendall Gray's friend. So now Kendall wants Kalani. And Kalani says, who are you going to choose, at championships or your friend? Who's more important to you? Kendall Gray, she says. Then was like weird photos like Booker T's headset apparently loses audio and like he's trying to swap it to a new headset. I don't know. It was kind of awkward but kind of funny at the same time. Then we get this was really good. So Keanu Carver from Evolve. He's gotten called to NXT. I've been a fan of him. I watched him in Evolve. I watched him there. He's really good. But he doesn't have much of a character besides I'm gonna fight everyone I see. This interview I liked, the next thing I'm about to talk about, because it actually gave him a character. And we now have a reason to care about him. There's footage from earlier today. There's a new interviewer on NXT. I forgot her name, I apologize. And she's outside in the parking lot of the Performance Center giving Keanu Carver an interview. And he doesn't want to do that first, but she's like, please, Keanu, it's my first day on the job. I gotta bring back at least something. At least some kind of, he's like, fine. He finally gives it in. He says, this is what they do. They put you in situations you don't want to be in. And he doesn't want to talk in front of the camera. So the interviewer gets the camera guy, put the camera down, but it's still recording. He doesn't know that yet, though. And then he says she needs to go back of something. So she knows, she did a little research on him. She knows he went to Temple University and played football, and she asks what his motivation is. He says, honestly, he's just here to get paid. He has a family to feed and fans don't pay their bills. You know, his online fans that talk about him all the time don't pay his bills. He's not here trying to do some fancy tricks and get clout online like everybody else is around here. He doesn't need that. He just has people back home he needs to take care of. And he says, you know why I told Shawn Michaels? He says, when I came here, I straight up told Shawn Michaels to his face to either give him a chance or he said to Shawn Michaels, either give me a chance or cut me. And he says, if wrestling doesn't work, he'll find something that will feed his family. He'll find something. He says, and the interviewer says, everybody needs to survive, and he agrees. He says, yeah, exactly. And he says, everybody around here pretends to be somebody else, but he's always been the same guy, and he always will be. He's not here to follow rules or authority, and if you don't want to accept it, fine, he'll go his own way. Then she says again, he needs to go back to something. He says, that's fine. And he says, he knows the camera's been running the whole time, so you can pick it back up now. And she asks how he knew about evil. He asked how he knew about his symbol of war at the Tony D'Angelo, and he says he went to college and Niko to class all the time, but when he did, he listened. And what you don't know is that he's smart, for real. And that's pretty much it. Then, back in commercial, we get a Twitter video from Shiloh Hill earlier in the day. Shiloh Hill made a little video on Twitter, and he says he's excited because he beat Ricky Saints last week in his final NXT match, and now Shiloh's running down Christian Angels. He basically wants to fight him. So that could be fun. I'm excited for that. Then we get commentary hyping up next week's show. We got 3 things announced for next week. Naraku, Evil's new name, he debuts. He has his in-ring debut next week. We're also getting Noam Dar versus Jackson Drake next week. And finally, Ken Gray versus Kalani Jordan next week. 3 things announced. And also earlier, that tag match of Tatum and Lizzie versus Nikita and Zaria. That's also happening. So, yeah. Seems like a pretty fun card next week. I'm pretty excited. Still my favorite wrestling show of the week, so I'm excited. And then, after that, we go to our main event. So let's talk about that right now. This main event match is really good. This main event was really fun. It's the NXT Champion Tony D'Angelo versus Tavion Heights. It's not a title match. Tony's not defending the NXT Championship. This is a non-title match. This is pretty much a grudge match because Tavion's going to attack me. So, again, this is not an NXT Championship match. Tony wasn't defending the belt. This is a non-title match. This is him doing a grudge match with Tavion. Pretty fun match for a main event. It was pretty good stuff. And basically, toward the end of the match, Cam Hendricks shows up, and Tavion's focused on him. But then, Cam Hendricks is basically trying to interfere in the match, and then out of nowhere, Miles Bourne comes in. He does this crazy, really sick, over-the-top rope, like, dive on the Cam Hendricks. This is really cool. So, Miles was basically helping his old buddy, Tavion Heights, his old tag team partner. They were a tag team for so long in the past. So, I'm assuming Miles and Cam Hendricks are going to be feuding for the North American title. I gotta say, with all these new Evolve talents, Tony D'Angelo and Miles Bourne got some pretty fun competition going on. The NXT Championship and North American Championship have a lot of challenges. It's fun. The future looks great for this show. And that was fun. And after Miles attacked him, Tavion, is happy. But then Tony D'Angelo wins by pinfall. He pins Tavion and wins the match. Post-match, though, Tony helps Tavion up and he shakes his hand. They're both babyfaces. They got respect for each other. They shake. So they're cool. Then out of nowhere, Will Cruz from last week, the new debut. I did a research on him, by the way. He's really cool. He's apparently a big wrestler in the UK. Will Cruz attacks Tony from behind and throws Tony onto Tavion. Then he stares in the camera and reveals his new name for the WWE. He stares in the camera and says his name is Mason Rook, and he's arrived in NXT. So Will Cruz is no more. He is now Mason Rook. So Evil and Will Cruz both got new names now, officially. So, pretty fun stuff. And pretty much that was the show. So now it's time to go over the news. Alright, so also, forgot to mention as well, I want to start giving you shows a rating just for fun. So I'm going to do a scale of 1 to 10. I give this show a 6, 6.5, 7, probably 6.5. I think it was a solid show. It wasn't fantastic like last week, but it was a solid show overall. So, the news. The news is, apparently, the latest news, the reason why Kobe Kingston and Xavier Woods left, and the reason why all this TKO news going on, the budget cuts, apparently, TKO is reportedly asking multiple talents to restructure their contracts and take a 50% pay cut. Basically, take half their pay. As a result of what they view as talent rate of production versus what they are being paid. So basically, TKO is looking to maximize revenue as the company is still currently in debt due to endeavors past. And apparently, the reason why they want to they're taking the pay away from these people is because basically, this is all news again. Nothing is official. I'm not a reporter. I'm just reading what the reporters say. I'm just recapping the news to you guys and reading what the reporters say online. So if this is not true, don't get mad at me. Again, I'm not the one doing it. I'm just reading everyone else's stuff. Apparently, TKO is basically the way they're looking at it. Since the live events and house shows are no more for most of the year now, the wrestlers are wrestling less. Some of these wrestlers are only wrestling 1 or 2 times a month only on TV. That's all they got now is just TV. They aren't traveling as much either. So TKO is looking at it as well, you're not wrestling as much anymore. So you're getting paid more than you should be. You're getting paid more for working less. Basically, what they're looking at is you're getting paid more than what you work. But also you get to look at it like this, with the less shows, those house shows, you're actually making more revenue from these talents wrestling. So if anything, they should get increased pay, in my opinion, increased paychecks because they're making you more money now than you were having before. That's just me. And that's the news. That's all I got for you guys tonight. So, schedule for the rest of the week. Next time you'll see me is back with my co-host this Friday for our SmackDown review. And, what's it called? Yeah, maybe I might do a Backlash preview and prediction show. I don't know yet. But, stay tuned. I'm thinking about doing that. I don't know if I'm doing it with my co-host or not yet. I might just do it by myself, just a solo review, because I don't feel like forcing him to do an extra bonus show for the week, because we're doing a lot this week. Because it's the pay-per-view week. It's a busy week for us. When it's a pay-per-view week, it's busy. If it's the pay-per-view review, is like a bonus episode for you guys. It's one of those weeks, because after that SmackDown review, you're going to be seeing a bonus episode this week for our Backlash review after the pay-per-view's over. It's going to be me, my normal co-host, and a special guest. I'm not going to tell you guys who it is. I want to surprise you. I tease this on Monday, too, for our Raw review. I tease at the end of that show. I'll tease it at the end of this show now. All I'm going to say is it's one of my brothers from Real Life Brother, and you've seen him in a lot of my gaming streams in the past. You know I have two brothers. Which one is it? I'll let you guys decide. So, that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys this Friday for our SmackDown show. Until next time, peace.